on the Kibbe leads on this little dude, and tack welds made. There she is. We look at the highs and the lows of building a Season 2 correct hero car. Well, we're putting our vapor barrier in our doors, and I'll show you how I done that. I just use regular Visqueen plastic like you put to a vapor barrier, say, in under your house. Get about as thick of a plastic as you can. It's measured in mils, so the higher the number, the thicker it is. What we done is we just laid the plastic over the top of the panels, door panels, interior panels, and trace that out, and cut out our holes for the door latch and the crank, window crank. I've got it taped up there right now. Get a little closer. So what we've done is we have taped the panel up there. I'm going to go back, trim out these spots here are where clips that holds our door panel on go into the door. We're just going to trim around that edge so you can't see any of this. This is actually where the door panel kind of comes to. So we'll go back and trim that out. We're going to put this in using some 3M window weld ribbon sealer. This here is the 5/16, and then I'll show you in just a second how we actually go about putting it on there. When you're putting it on there, you just kind of stretch it a little bit. Let's see, part number on this is 8611. So we'll pull this back off, trim the excess off, clean it up with some wax and grease remover, and I'll show you how we go about putting it on. We're going to put our ribbon in, and you can put it, start about anywhere you want. But just remember, on this vehicle, we'll start right here. There's a chrome trim that runs across here. So we're just going to, when you can see that real well, just kind of run it around. And you could probably go on either side of the mounting hole, but I just choose to go on this inside of it. Probably stretching that out to 1/4 or 1/8. And you can get 1/4 inch ribbon, be a different part number, but I just always get the 5/16 because it has more uses for me anyway. And this is basically what you see on all newer model vehicles. We got it cut out, and it's time to put our plastic here. What these are dots that we made earlier, kind of as a reference. So we want everything to go. Lightly press it against the start with. And if you're hearing a background noise, that is my 5-year-old watching movies in the background. Once you get it tacked in, just take your thumb and press it down. See through it real good. I like using the clear plastic just because it looks more factory look, but I mean, you can use black plastic. Just whatever you can get your hands on. I don't know where the factory actually put ribbon out on these because this car didn't have any vapor barrier at all when we done it, or when we took it apart. So, and the reason for this, pretty much if you've ever rode in a vehicle and you feel cold air coming around the anywhere, around the door handle or around the crank, it's probably because you've got a leak in your vapor barrier. So there it is. Now we're ready to go back and just take a screwdriver or a pin vise or something like that. A punch, not a pin vise, I'm sorry. And poke holes in all that. And we'll put our legendary door panel on. We've got all of our clips put into our legendary panel. So now all we've got to do is line the clips. Oops. Goes in at the top first. And the clips up with the holes. In my case, put one of the clips in like that. This isn't a big deal. I'm wondering how I managed to do that. I didn't have the old panel with clips in it to go by. Originally, the first panel we had was silicone done, actually. Or no, actually just had screws drilled straight through the panel into the car. Put our upper panel on. We run it down. Since as a general Lee, you'll be driving with the windows down most of the time anyway. So it's hot for mine to be at about a, let's say, 10, about a 10 o'clock position. Car's charger, these are held in with a 5/32 Allen head. Now, earlier, you can see this or not, Legendary gives you this little tool to pick the backing off so you can put your clips in. It's pretty much almost like a nail, little handy deal. It hits in the palm of your hand. So I like to wad just a piece of tape up on it. And that way you can work it almost like a Mac pinstriping brush. So now we're going to put our upper panel on, and a lot of times, turn around where you can see it, these little clips don't fit right, or they don't fit very snug. So what you can do is simply take it just like that and crimp it a little bit. That way it'll fit a lot more snug. And you simply just line up your holes. Okay, so it took a moment to get those lined up, popped in. Come back then, put our felt or window sweep, I think is what Legendary calls it, across through here. We've got the lock knob coming, and this panel is finished. Now time to move on to the quarter panel, interior panel, and then paint the roll bar, install the roll bar, weld the door shut, and that should be it. So let's move on to what's next. So we've went from working on interior panels to somewhere in that time there was a slight miscommunication between Robert and myself. Actually, probably just between me, because the customer's always right. So basically, we decided, because of many factors, time, budget, mostly time, that we were going to leave the headliner in the car. And I kind of thought that maybe Robert was going to have somebody else do it later on, and Robert thought that I was going to do something wondrous with it because he knows how good I am. And now I'm doing something wondrous with it. We are going to paint the headliner in the Charger. It's not highly recommended, especially after you've gotten most of the interior in the car, and and headliners aren't really meant to be painted. So what you're looking at is me in the Kibbe steering wheel over my right shoulder, and we're going to spray the inside of this headliner, and it's going to look beautiful, doggone it, because people like me, and I'm just that good. So I'm going to quit rattling my mouth, and we're going to spray it. You're not going to get to see me spray it because the fog is going to ruin my camera. So basically, we'll go from this scene to me coming back and showing you how beautiful and perfect it turned out. See you in just a second. And here we go. This is prior to painting the headliner in the Kibbe. We've pretty much created a big plastic cocoon, if you will, covering everything in plastic and paper and tape and prayer, and we are going to paint the headliner, and it's going to look awesome, and people are going to love it. And here we have it. Yes, I did leave that in there and taped around it. It was giving me a little trouble. I was afraid I was going to break it, so I taped around it, and it didn't hurt anything. So this is what we've got: Kibbe brown headliner sprayed inside the car. Now time to untape everything, and I couldn't help but show you how it looks with it all in there. Sorry about the light, but there we go. Matches great, looks great. Get the seats in, the carpet in, the console in, the rest of the dash in, and then we can start slinging gravel. I like that, looks great. Okay, we've got a lot done. Matter of fact, I can't remember which episode it was of the Muscle Car Place just aired today, and told about everything that we had done to the car, as far as the interior, painting all the letters, all of that stuff. So here is a shot of that. Still waiting on the radio, still waiting on the back seat and the driver's seat. Roll bar is painted, but it's laying over there. Here's the headliner. Already showed you that. There's the jute. Thanks what that's called. The wires hanging out are for the speaker. console's pretty much together. So with all of that done, we've completely stripped the filler panel. I didn't show actually stripping this because everybody knows what it's like to sand and take stuff off. It does have a little bit of surface rust on it. We've got to go back and try and sandblast that. And what I'm working on right now is the power antenna that we're going to paint the mount for the mast right there. We're going to paint it orange so it'll look just like they did the movie car, or done the season 2 car, where they just come in and take the antenna off and then just shotgun spray the whole entire car orange. Right here is the roll bar. Everything's painted. We used an adhesion promoter on that. And walk back over here. Alright, so I'm going to show you how this works, or how it looks. Just testing it right now. And let me get a light, and we'll show you how we're kind of mounting this up in here. And we've got to build a bracket for the base of it to hold on to. Okay, so pretty much got my bracket built for the antenna. So what we're doing is we put the antenna in. I'm not going to give you any of my exact measurements because each car will be different depending on where the fender's placed and things of that nature. But here is the kind of the short of it. Here's the motor, and right there is the L bracket. And how I did that is we got the antenna in, and then I pretty much just by eye run a line from right here and eyeballed it to right here. Now I knew I had to make a hole below the heater box, so I picked a point, and pretty much what I came back and done is it didn't matter how low I got it, just as long as it was below the heater box. So I measured from the center of that mounting point right there, then took a straight edge and put it on this edge right here. That's actually Robert and Justin texting me now about some parts on the heater box. But took a straight edge and come over this way with it and measured. I think it was like 8 inches or something. So then I knew to come back from this edge and go in roughly 8 inches. And that's where I made my line. Yours may be different depending on what brand antenna you use. So then from there I just picked a point and I drilled a hole, and I took and run a piece of flat steel up against this and run it down, and found how far from here to that hole I was going to be by holding it there and taking a marker and marking from the inside onto the piece of steel. So that gave me my drop point. I then just took a tape measure, and it's hard to do it and I don't have the tape measure right here in front of me, but anyhow I just folded it and put it up against the wall in there and measured out about 2.25 inches. So I knew that my L bracket had to be up from that hole, I forgot what it was, like 3 or 4 inches, and then out about 2.25 inches. And those are rough measurements, they're not exact. And so from there I have marked where I'm going to have to drill my hole for my bolt to go in my L bracket, and I'm fixing to take the L bracket out and the antenna back out and get all of that drilled, and I'll be able to go to that and show you kind of a little bit better about how we done it. Okay, so here's your handy dandy bracket. You can see where I have marked it, while it was in the car. Made that mark. So I've drilled the holes and I've slotted it so I've got a little bit of movement. That way I can adjust it backwards and forwards. So now all we have to do is come back and weld a nut right here. So when we mount it in the car, bolt goes through. I don't have to reach my arm up in here anymore and worry about dropping the nut off. And just bolt that down, come back, slide a bolt up through here into the antenna, and whammo bammo, there we go. So next stop is welding, spray paint this so it don't rust, and prepping the end that goes on that and painting it the color orange of the Kibbe leaf. Alright, so here is our handy dandy bracket, and it will bolt or help hold the power antenna in here. And then right there is our nut and washer for the mast. They're painted to match the car. And let's walk around here. Show you what we did last night. We haven't spray chromed it yet, but we have got the orange on the top. I haven't got it fully unmasked yet. Got the black on. Let's do the spray chrome over the top of that. So let me reset the camera and we'll put the mast in. Okay, so sorry about that. Got it mounted. Actually hides away pretty good. Looks pretty much like what was on the show, as far as like they just took the mast off or took the antenna off and or broke it off, whatever they did, and painted it orange. And zoom out a little bit here and see if we can get it to go up and down. There we go. So there's one more thing checked off the list, and I believe that turned out really, really good. Now let's move on to, there we go. Look at the interior. We've got the roll bar mounted. Really happy with how that turned out. Interior's in now. I don't think I've showed a shot of that. Didn't show putting the seats in. Still don't have the console in. I've got to put a few more parts on it. We got a radio here the other day, so I've got to put that in. Of course, right about now, if you're listening to the Kibbe and Friends and Muscle Car Place, we're right at the point where they were talking about having to take the heater box back out because of parts that were missing. But here is the, you can see down in there, you can see a little bit of a spacer I had to put under it to get it to tilt back so it don't hit the seats. So real happy with the way the roll bar turned out. Alright, so let's move on to what's next.